Hey guys, and Happy New Year. Um, for today's movie review, since I filmed this on New Year's Eve, basically I'm going to be talking about the film 42. It is the film biopic about Jackie Robinson. Let me adjust the camera once more here. Sorry, I get a little picky about that, but um, so yeah, I'm reviewing 42 for you today. It's the film about Jackie Robinson. Basically, this film centers around Jackie Robinson's life with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Kind of his baseball career, kind of how he got married at the last second right before his baseball career really took off, and basically, since he was one of the first African American baseball players to play with almost completely white American baseball team. It's basically about his story about how he kind of adapted to that, kind of how things were not really fair for him. How he had to stay at a separate hotel while they were away for another game, or if the team wanted to celebrate at a restaurant, he wouldn't be able to go in since he was a different race than they were. So the film's not only about his baseball career, but kind of how he kind of had to deal with all this crap going on. Since there was segregation issues still around the time he played baseball, and how people still really respected him a lot, and he was as popular as any other player would be on the team. Problem is, because of his race, the other teams would make fun of him. His own team members, really wouldn't play fair with him at times, and so the film's really about kind of how he adjusted to that, and kind of how he really got accepted in the world of baseball into this sport, even though he was a very different race compared to everybody at the time, and that was very, very rare. Um, so it's kind of his adjustment into not only being of a different race for this sport, but it was about him rising to fame pretty much, and we get to see like several different baseball aspects go on while we witness the story of Jackie Robinson. So overall, guys, I thought this film was okay. I've seen much better biopics than this, to tell you the truth. Definitely there were some scenes in here where you could definitely tell that there was very respectful to Jackie Robinson, but there's some other scenes in here where they almost didn't do enough about Jackie Robinson. That was kind of the part of the film that made me think, this is an okay experience. Um, so for the positives and negatives of 42, you guys, I liked how they showed some of Jackie Robinson's home life, kind of how we saw how getting married and having a kid, and moving into a new house, and kind of how being away for all these baseball games definitely affected his family life. Though there was never really quite a dramatic moment like we see in Dragon or in Ray, or some other biopics. It was nice to see just kind of things that went on at home, at least briefly, for Jackie Robinson. The film also briefly shows the hardships that Jackie Robinson had to go through, with his race, and learning how to adapt to this team where he was basically the only African American player for that time, and kind of how he really had to adjust to being in almost, I would say, a good 85%, if not 90%. Pure white environment, and kind of how that was very hard for him to do at times. There was times where he almost had a mental breakdown just because of how difficult it was not to fight back against these other white people who were taunting him while he was playing baseball. There was some very good baseball footage here. You can definitely tell that whoever made this movie, whoever directed it or did the baseball choreography, they definitely knew how to shoot good baseball footage. So I give them a lot of credit for that. So the baseball scenes were pretty well filmed in this for the most part. I liked the end credit info that was given about Jackie Robinson and about the other baseball players that were involved with the movie. At least the fictional people who were playing those real life people. It was almost to the point where I almost wished that end credit part, because it was so informative and I learned so much more about Jackie Robinson, could have been the movie pretty much, simply because I learned more about Jackie Robinson in that small bit alone than the actual movie. So that's kind of both the good and bad part of this movie in a way. Um, I like how we got to see kind of Jackie Robinson's inner feelings about all this kind of stuff. Kind of how he really felt deep down when he was not out playing the game, or when he was out of the public eye. We really got to see his inner feelings about all this kind of stuff going on whenever he had a private moment to himself in this movie. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Um, I also like that we also got to have the impression of who Jackie Robinson liked to be close with. Harrison Ford was in this film, and you could definitely tell that his character was pretty close with Robinson, and his wife was very important to him. The film did a very good job with really getting us to know who was very important in his life, and I really liked how uh, they handled that kind of content in the movie. For the negatives, I did feel that they needed to show. A before and after portion of Jackie Robinson's life. And when I say that, I mean stuff that happened before he got a baseball career and stuff that happened after all this time has passed. I would have liked to have seen that those kind of stuff happen because basically all the film does is it jumps right into him getting accepted onto this baseball team and then it ends with him still in that prime of being this huge baseball player. And it really we never really get to see the before and after part of that part of his life, and I think that's a huge missed opportunity because I think we would have learned a lot more about Jackie Robinson. Like let's say if we saw a part of his childhood that made him want to become a baseball player, or maybe we get to see a scene where he's much older and later in life, and kind of how he left this huge legacy behind him. And I think they really could have just done something like that because how they ended it and how they started it I thought was kind of a weird way to both start and end the movie, and I really wish they could have improved upon that. Um, the film has a tendency of telling and not showing, or the typical quote of "show, don't tell." I think that's a good message to give to the director because there's a lot of moments in this film where he's saying about what's going on, he's saying why having a son is so important to him, and why he wants to be a much better father than his father was to him, and we get to see Harrison Ford talk about, the hardships that he knew Jackie Robinson would go through getting accepted into this baseball team. And they talk about it, but we never really get to see it. So I don't know if the director of this film just wanted to play it safe and just like, we're not going to show that part. We're just going to explain it or whatever they did. I think it was a very, almost a kind of lazy way to get the story done. I don't know. I'm a huge fan of actually seeing things play out. So the fact that they just used to see people talking about it was kind of a letdown to me. I would have really liked to have seen a visual play out of some of these parts of Jackie Robinson's life instead. Um, I thought the film also, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree, but I thought the film almost focused too much on Jackie Robinson's baseball career. I love the parts where he's at home, and I loved all these. There's a character in the movie that later became a baseball player that got inspired by Jackie Robinson, and I just really liked those moments so much that the film just barely focuses on those things, and I would have really liked to have seen a lot more stuff happen outside the baseball field of Jackie Robinson's life because the film spends so much time on the baseball field that we rarely get to see those moments. Um, Overall, I think the film isn't as moving as it should be. I should have left this film feeling, happy and motivated and almost very proud of what Jackie Robinson did. But to tell you the truth, when I was in a history class or learning about Jackie Robinson in a college course, I felt that impression more so while doing those units in those classes than I did with watching this movie. And I think that's saying a lot because either I already knew a lot about Jackie Robinson before going into the movie, or the movie just gave me so much of the simple stuff that I wanted some more complex stuff that I didn't know about Jackie Robinson, like what was shown in the end credits sequence with the before the end credits started rolling. I mean, just give me something that I didn't know about Jackie Robinson and really play off of that in the movie. And I think this movie really should have focused on that. I also would go so far as to say is the film isn't cruel enough, and what I mean by that is Jackie Robinson had to go through a lot. He had to go through his race. He had to go through being the only black person on the team to really be able to keep up with the team and really have to not only deal with the hardships of being a professional baseball player, but he had to deal with being the fact that he was the only person in that race to be on this team. And um, I just the fact that it didn't feel whenever there was something racist going on or a part where they're focusing on how hard it was for him to adapt to this kind of team, it was just so brief to the point where it's just like at the time I think they would have been much more meaner than that. And I don't know, to me the reason why I wanted them to focus on that more so is just to show how hard this time period was for an African American player to be a part of a white baseball team. And I think it would have been a much better film if they played off that some more. Um, Overall, guys, I do give 42 a 7.5 out of 10. I think there's some good moments in this film, but there's just not enough of it to say it's a good movie. But there's not enough things going against it to say it's a bad movie. It's just it just plays things so ordinary, and I really wish the film would have done something much more special and much more. It would have given Jackie Robinson a lot more justice than what it gave it. So 42, it's an okay experience, but at the same time, don't expect anything groundbreaking. I don't think it's a great biopic. I think there's better biopics out there like Ray and American Splendor and Dragon the Bruce Lee story, and it's an okay film. It's just don't expect anything groundbreaking.